Welcome to Lexington, Kentucky, where it feels like a must-win night in the SEC for the Wildcats. 0-2 in league play for the first time in 20 years, taking on a red-hot Mississippi State Bulldogs team who's won 6 in a row. Hi again, everybody. Matt Schumacher, the former All-SEC big man. Richard Hendricks. Some around here feel like the sky is falling. This is must-win to many in Lexington. How do they do it against a team that's as hot as any team in the SEC?
Well, 0-2 for Kentucky, and Mississippi State is a team that has flipped the switch and playing great basketball. But this is the night that Kentucky has to figure out how to gel.
Well, this is a night that will be dominated by backcourt stars. For Kentucky, it's Oweh. For Mississippi State, it's Josh Hubbard, who's got back-to-back 30-point games.
Well, these are two high-powered guards, and Josh Hubbard is dynamite. He can get it done in so many ways. He comes off screen roll action, and he's locked and loaded, ready to shoot. And the athleticism of Oweh has been dynamic, but he'll have to take it up another level today.
Our officials tonight: Jeb Hartness, Orlandis Poole, Garrick Shannon, Kentucky in the home white, Mississippi State in the road black, and we're underway from Rupp Arena, where Kentucky has won over 88% of its games since the building was open in the mid-70s. Here's Josh Hubbard, the leading scorer in the SEC. Sean Jones Jr. less than 10 to shoot. Into the paint, got Dioubate up and took advantage.
That's really good patience by Mississippi State on the first possession. They're going to have to try to make Kentucky guard them for long possessions.
Kentucky using their 7th different starting lineup there without Quaintance tonight, dealing with some swelling in that knee, in which he had surgery to repair a torn ACL. Meanwhile, Malachi Moreno puts Kentucky on the board.
That's a promising move right there. Moreno with the offensive rebound and a nice jump hook over the top.
Achor off the mark on a 3. Quincy Ballard couldn't corral. It's a Mississippi State team that began its season 4-5, regularly playing 5 transfers. They've since won 6 in a row. Sean Jones Jr. tagged with the foul. And Chris Jans told us we're playing the way we have to play to win. It took us a little while, Richard, to figure out what that way was. The turning point was the loss to San Francisco. They've won 6 straight since.
Well, Chris Jans has done a phenomenal job in his tenure at Mississippi State. He's been known for having stingy defenses and big men that he can pound the ball in down low. He's made some adjustments as a coach. He's given the ball to his dynamic playmakers, and now as his team is off to a 2-0 start.
They lost that game to San Francisco. It was a quad 3 loss. And Josh Hubbard was injured for most of the second half. Didn't play from the 17-minute mark on. And Chris Jans told us they were exposed in a lot of ways. And they felt like the scout would have been out on them. They realized they needed to shuffle some things around, play offense differently. It's required unselfishness from most of the roster. And boy, has it paid off.
Well, as many of these teams in college basketball, when you put together a team without a lot of continuity, it does take some time to gel.
That's some continuity. Ballard finding Achor.
And there you see that chemistry right there. Mississippi State getting the ball into the soft spot, the 7-footer. Ballard with his head up, dropping the dime on the baseline.
Corner 3 for Aberdeen. Moreno with the rebound. Ball did not draw iron. 10 to shoot. Backdoor feed. Oweh with the hammer. And that gets this Rupp Arena crowd on its feet.
And for good reason. Incredible ball movement as Moreno with his head up. Oweh with the backdoor cut and a response. Epps with the tray ball.
Allowing the open 3 was an issue for Kentucky in its loss in the SEC opener against Alabama. Certainly something that was on the scout tonight. Dioubate off the mark. And it's Epps with the rebound. Hubbard stripped by Lowe. Now gripping that shoulder with a wrap on it, and he's walked off the floor. Jalen Lowe has gone straight back to the locker room, and that is a sight that all of Rupp Arena does not want to see. He has dealt with shoulder injuries all season long, missing 7 games. And Mark Pope said it's going to be a game-by-game basis for Jalen Lowe.
Well, there you see the feisty defense. He puts that arm in there and comes up with the strip. But when you have shoulder injuries, they are very tricky to manage. You never know when it can slip out of that joint. And you can see that Jalen Lowe has a little bit of pain on that one. Hopefully he can get back into the action.
He's coming off his first start at Kentucky and lost to Missouri on Wednesday. They were so happy to have him back regularly, feeling like he was healthy and back to playing like his old self, his all-ACC self, like last year at Pittsburgh.
They're going to need him, but I'll tell you one thing, the Mississippi State Bulldogs are not concerned with who's on the court for Kentucky. It's next man up with the Wildcats.
Off the mark, Oweh. Colin Chandler comes onto the floor for the first time and misses on a 3. Mississippi State with an overtime win against Texas and a thumping of Oklahoma, despite shooting just 2 of 15 from downtown.
We're able to get it done in many ways.
Hubbard draws a foul on Chandler of the shooting variety. And boy, what a season this has been. A season of trial and tribulation for Mark Pope, who won a national championship here in 1996. Richard, he's had a handful of guys miss multiple games. It seems like nightly they're not sure who's going to be available.
Well, they came into his second season with so much promise. Last year, he was able to put together a team of veteran players that played beautiful basketball, particularly in the half-court set. They've had a hard time getting it together, and a lot of it has to do with injuries this season for the Wildcats.
Particularly Jaden Quaintance, who's on the bench tonight in a shooting shirt, a projected NBA lottery pick. And then, of course, Jalen Lowe, who is expected to be this team's point guard from game 1 on. They've missed him over 7 games, and they're missing him right now after he went to the locker room with an apparent shoulder tweak.
Both of those players can bring so much to the table on both ends of the court. But this is a team that's going to have to develop an identity and do it quickly as SEC play is in full swing.
Aberdeen into the teeth of the defense, using his footwork, stops a 7-0 run.
That's a good take right there by Denzel Aberdeen. He took his time and got the defender on his hip, was able to find just the angle he needed to get it off the glass.
Hubbard left open. That's a 3.
That's beautiful work by Mississippi State. And it's where Kentucky has to do a much better job, where Josh Hubbard gets the ball coming off those handoffs or ball screen action. You have to make sure to show him bodies and contest those shots.
Aberdeen tried to slip it into Garrison. Instead, it's picked off. Here's a chore. Euro banks it in off the window, and a timeout taken by Mark Pope, and boos are ringing down at Rupp Arena. A 10-point lead for Mississippi State on the road, riding a 12-2 run. A 12-2 run for Mississippi State out of the gate. Kentucky has shot just 33% from the floor, and Richard, offensive stagnation has been one of the key problems all year for the Wildcats.
Yeah, this is a team that struggled to get it done, particularly in the half-court set. As you can look at how they're operating, they swing the ball around, but there's no offside motion, no screen set, no one moving without the basketball. It allows the defense to just tee up and look at the ball and contest. You have to get a little bit more activity within it. But when they have some flow, when you get multiple players to converge on the ball, you create rotations, and then you get wide open looks. This is what Kentucky's going to have to do to get things going in their favor.
And they've had issues moving the ball even with Jalen Lowe on the floor. And if you're just joining us, Jalen Lowe went to the locker room at the 17-12 mark, apparently re-aggravating that shoulder which he injured in the preseason.
Well, I do think that Jalen Lowe is a difference maker. But this is a squad that without a lot of time, and maybe not the veteran squad that Mark Pope had last year with older players that had been in the college game for a while, it takes a little longer to learn his system. I think they can find something with it being simplified, playing a little bit quicker, and more than anything, being a little bit more disruptive in the passing lanes and pressing the ball on the defensive end to see if you can generate some offense by way of your defense.
And that's where they've been at their best this year, no? I mean, 19 points per game on fast break. That's top 10 in the nation when we've seen Kentucky really roll in wins against Indiana, St. John's, for example, and all the mid-majors that they've handled. Getting out in space, using that athleticism has been the strength of this team.
Well, their last two performances against Kentucky and Alabama outpaced both of those teams in fast break points. I think it could be a recipe that the Wildcats could find some success.
Already under 10 to shoot. That one was jarred loose. Oweh with 5. Pull up 3. Left it short. Garrison tap around rebound. And Matsura the rebound. Almost picked by Oweh. McGee lays it in without any resistance.
Yeah, that's one where Moreno has to rotate over and reject that shot and at least challenge it at the rim. You got to get your defense connected and on a string.
That's a great play by Aberdeen, the veteran who won a national championship last year at Florida. Drawing a foul, he's headed back to the free throw line.
A really good job by Aberdeen. My only criticism with that may be is that that's a very good individual effort, but at the same time it stagnates the flow of the offense. You want to see if you can move the ball from side to side and get Mississippi State to work. If you got to depend on those type of buckets throughout the entire game, then it's going to be very difficult to engineer some easy buckets.
Mark Pope has been very upfront about his team's struggles. They've bothered him as much as anyone in the country. Man who calls this place his alma mater and has lost sleep over the start to this year for Kentucky.
Get it. And it is early in the SEC season. And Kentucky has been here before where they've been down 2 games. You got to get it going in a hurry.
Almost picked by McGee. Aberdeen came away with it, draws another foul. And he is headed back to the stripe.
See, after the missed alley-oop, Kentucky is able to get the outlet pass and staying with it. Aberdeen with the spirited drive, going back to the line to shoot for 2.
Well, Aberdeen, similar to many on this roster, playing in a totally different role this year. Was never a starter at Florida, came off the bench, was seldom used as a freshman last year, a 6th man type. Injected into the starting lineup at times due to injuries to Walter Clayton Jr., but for the most part was a role player in his 2 seasons at Florida. And with the injury to Jalen Lowe over the course of this season, he has been called upon to do even more than he initially anticipated.
He was a major utility player for the national championship Florida squad, coming off the bench to do so many things. A veteran player with a lot of ability, but a different role this year.
Mississippi State has shot nearly 80% from the floor so far. Achor Hezzy and lays it in.
Achor has shown some tremendous footwork and skill early on in this game.
Transferring in from Kansas State after a couple years at Samford with Bucky McMillan. Williams at 3, knocks it down. First of the game for the Cats.
A really good job on that ball reversal. And Williams catching it with his hands and feet ready, locked and loaded, and knocks it down.
There's Sergei Matsura, glad to have him back, missed the Oklahoma game. Jabari McGee floats it over the top of Chandler.
And that's just a strong move right there by Jabari McGee. You know, he got a defender on his hip, and that physicality and strength that he has was able to muscle that one home.
Backdoor, Chandler missed the bunny.
That's a tough one because beautiful execution by Kentucky. They have to settle down. You know, it's a moment where you can feel the pressure that they have on them. It's big shots right there by Josh Hubbard, as it's no pressure on number 12 in black on the road.
Hubbard leads the SEC, averaging 23 points per game. He's scored 30 or more in 3 of their last 5. Cam Williams scoops it off the window.
Good job, Cam Williams.
Oh, wide open Jamarian Davis-Fleming celebrating his 19th birthday this evening at Rupp Arena.
Some blown coverage there by Kentucky. No help side. Not seeing ball and man. Mississippi State gets a gift.
Oweh off the screen, lobs it in. Garrison, and found it at the bottom of the cup. A little bit more urgency this last 4 to 5 minutes from Kentucky. They have shrunk the gap. Jabari McGee, floater, rims out. Garrison, the one-on rebound.
Wrong-bodied rebound. This is where Kentucky could use a little bit more pace. When they're walking across and allowing Mississippi State to set it up, you're playing into the hands of Chris Jans and the Bulldogs.
Through the 5-hole of Garrison, here comes Hubbard. Oh, what a move. Hubbard floats it in.
My goodness.
Is he special?
Ball on a string, yo-yo dribble, electric.
Another turnover, and the boos raining down again.
This is where Kentucky should put a little bit more ball pressure on Mississippi State. Show the spirit.
Oweh with the interception. Takes it all the way home.
Now this is where the Wildcats have to find some juice. You're allowing Mississippi State to come into the operational area way too easy. The balls are being reversed from side to side without any pressure on it, and not even denying in the passing lanes. Get active, you'll get a steal, you could be rewarded.
Deep 3. Hubbard off the side of the rim. Tap out Aberdeen. Cross-court pass. Williams. Extra feet Oweh. Knocks in a 3. Timeout Mississippi State.
That's an outstanding response right there by the Wildcats, as they were able to get a little bit of juice from the defensive end, and they get out and running. And it's Oweh from the corner, knocking it down. The Wildcats on the attack.
Playoff game on Monday night. Speaking of football, Will Stein, fresh off a loss last night to Indiana in the college football playoff semifinal. Now home, Kentucky's next head football coach. A lot of turnover in the SEC head football coaching ranks. Will Stein, one of a handful of new head men patrolling the sidelines next year. Meanwhile, back here at Rupp Arena, Matt Schumacher, Richard Hendricks, Oweh does not want to go quietly into the night. He has willed his team back into this game after they trailed by as many as 10.
Oweh is supremely talented, and he was able to get a bead on it and pick off that pass in the passing lanes, get an easy deuce. And Kentucky has picked up the tempo. 7 fast break points in this game so far. Could it be the recipe for the Wildcats to regain their swagger?
They began the game 2 for 8 from the floor. They've since gone 6 for 8, all without Jalen Lowe, who exited the game with 17 minutes to go in the opening half, and we have not seen him since. And the Cats are also without their star center, Jaden Quaintance.
Quaintance known for his defensive work. And this defensive end, I believe, is where Kentucky can start to find a little bit of momentum. They have been allowing Mississippi State to catch the ball way too easily.
Cam Williams takes it home.
Beautiful job by Kentucky, denying all of the passes, and Cam Williams picking that one off and leading to the easy layup.
7-0 Wildcat run.
phenomenal work. The adjustments have started to be made, and this crowd here at Rupp Arena is applauding the effort. Malachi Moreno at over 7 feet, sliding over and hedging on those ball screens, putting some pressure on the Mississippi State ball handlers is going to be an important task for Kentucky to make sure that they do.
Length is one area that Kentucky has a distinct advantage tonight. We asked Mark Pope about that. He said, look, length can play out in a lot of different ways in a basketball game. The two ways I want to see it play out, rebounding and getting into the passing lanes. They've done that since the last time out. Cam Williams goes to the hole. And it's a two-point game here in Lexington.
This is the run that Kentucky needs. And Cam Williams has spearheaded this with another savvy drive to the cup.
Sergei Matsura into the paint, back out Sean Jones Jr. 10 to shoot for the Bulldogs. Step back three, McGee. Here comes Jasper Johnson. And there's a whistle by Orlandis Poole. And I believe a foul is being called on Mississippi State here. Chris Jan's team led by as many as 12 at the beginning of this half. They have seen that dwindle quickly. A 9-0 Kentucky run.
This is the part where Chris Jan's squad has to weather this intensity that has been put forth by Kentucky. The crowd has gotten into the game. They have been denied and been struggling to get the ball in their sideline inbound situations. They're going to have to pick up the defensive work. They were gifted a few free baskets with some blown coverages, but Kentucky has made the adjustments.
It was not a foul on Mississippi State. They had to correct the shot clock. 13 to shoot. Johnson a three. Kentucky leads. Hubbard off the bounce, up and under, sent back by Oweh, and a foul will send the SEC leading scorer to the free throw line when we come back. What a start in Lexington. A 12-0 run for Mark Pope's group. They have the lead with 7:58 to play in the opening half. During this last timeout, one lucky fan got a chance to hit a half-court shot for 10 grand. He did it on one try. The place went nuts. Matt Schumacher, Richard Hendricks with you, as they have gone nuts for Cam Williams, who has started the game 4 for 4 with a 3. He has 9 points and has given the Cats a 1-point lead.
Cam Williams, just like the shooter from half court, has been perfect from the field. He's come in this game and made a big difference. He's been getting out in transition, getting steals, an easy layup, some crafty drives to the basket, and as you mentioned, 1 for 1 from three-point land.
What in your mind has changed over the last 2.5 minutes for Kentucky in the midst of a 12-0 run over that stretch?
The attitude, and that's what it starts in, and particularly on the defensive end. Some adjustments seem to be made with this Kentucky roster. They've stepped onto the court, denied a few more passes, and now the crowd is into the building as they got some easy breakaway layups from their defensive work.
They are without, at the moment, Jalen Lowe, injured at the 17-12 mark. They are also without Jaden Quaintance tonight. Meanwhile, Hubbard at the line for 2 shots. Well, our SEC Network Wednesday men's doubleheader features Otega Oweh and Kentucky taking on LSU, coming off a tough loss today against Vanderbilt. Arkansas will host South Carolina, who gave Georgia all they wanted and more today, ultimately falling to the Dogs.
A lot of good action around the league. These teams trying to establish their identity early on in the SEC season.
Moreno swatted by Jamarion Davis-Fleming, true freshman from Canton, Mississippi. Coming off the best game of his young career, had 8 points, 10 boards, 2 blocks in the double-digit thumping of Oklahoma. Under 10 to shoot. Oweh slashes and lays it in.
Beautiful action right there. They throw the ball into the low post, and you see the guard split off the post. That type of cut action created the confusion with Mississippi State in the easy layup.
Moreno picked the pocket of Hubbard. Largest lead of the game for Kentucky at 3.
Well, this freshman, Malachi Moreno, has stepped up his game. He's doing it on both ends of the court with the activity and the ball screen coverage, but his offensive work has been magnificent.
Much more ball pressure. Second half of these opening 20 minutes from Kentucky. Jones slipped inside Davis-Fleming, finished, and that is the first field goal in nearly 4 minutes for Mississippi State. Jasper Johnson, no, and Moreno the tap back jam.
The activity on both ends of the court. Good things happen when you play with this level of spirit. 24 in white is doing his part.
Epps catch and shoot. And a foul on Jamarion Davis-Fleming.
Well, this is what you see. When they throw this ball into the low post to Moreno, you're going to get two guards. They're going to come right here and split off the post and come together. And when they do that, that's going to allow Moreno to go to work. And it's going to free up the confusion for Mississippi State. It's that type of off-ball action as soon as you make the pass, that you have to make a pass and then move. And splitting off the post, as Moreno had it, created that opportunity for the easy layup in the half-court set.
Dioubate, the Alabama transfer, no good with the left hand. Josh Hubbard, floater, no, and yes! A chore, soaring in.
He's been playing high-level basketball, and there he is, the activity on the offensive rebound.
Oh, Sean Jones Jr.
See the 40-inch vertical.
Whoa! Jump out of the gym, bunnies.
So you want to see someone jump to the top of the backboard. And look on both ends. This is offensive rebound here. A chore going above the rim for the throwdown, but the defensive work at the top of the square. Sean Jones Jr. Fabulous.
Began his career as a walk-on at Mississippi State, was originally committed to Texas State, had a coaching change, walked on at Mississippi State. He's the only current role player in the SEC to spend all 4 years at the same program.
What times are now that we have only one player in the SEC to be on a team for 4 years.
Nice lob inside to Quincy Ballard.
That's a situation right there. Kentucky's got to do a much better job of making it a little more congested on the roller with Ballard. You have to know where your rollers are in screen roll coverage.
Epps in a flash, set back by Brandon Garrison. Jasper Johnson being defended by Josh Hubbard. Johnson, no, rebound Ballard. 1 point lead Mississippi State, less than 5 minutes to go in the opening half. State led by as many as 12 early. 5 in gymnastics.
And you got to love a little Friday night heights. As you know, around the league, they're definitely showing off supreme levels of athleticism.
Maybe Sean Jones could get in on that action.
No doubt about it.
Hubbard creating space. Archer won't go. Jelavic into the game, tried to set a screen. Williams stepped out of bounds, maneuvering around the screen back to Mississippi State.
Well, that's one if you're Cam Williams. If you know that swing roll action is coming, you got to jab them baseline and create the space and then come off your screen going to the middle. That's going to create the separation you need that will avoid you stepping on the sideline.
Oweh. Well, defeated into Matsura. That's a travel. And the 6th turnover of the game for Mississippi State. They lead by
1. Richard Hendrick.
Oh my goodness, one team to pick the SEC champion. You know, it's wide open. And I really don't think I can pick one particular team. It's early in the season, and I think the reoccurring theme around the league is that every team is trying to improve and becoming their ceiling. No one is who they are. You see Florida get a win after they've been struggling all year long. Alabama, I think, can be amongst the top. Tennessee dropped one, but you know they're going to be strong. And that was a little surprising that I thought Arkansas might be the team to beat, but today, hey, a little slip up. So, hey, it's wide open, Fish. I'm sorry I don't have one for you.
You always seem to get put on the spot by the folks back in the studio.
Well, I like being on the spot. I played in a time period where bigs didn't get to shoot. So I loved when the grenade was thrown to me in the last 3 seconds. I get to get a 3-ball off. But this game isn't about the 3 balls. It's about the defensive work. And Kentucky has given up some gimmies in this action. Here you go, screen roll action. You go pick and roll right here. And it's going to be a screen right there set by Ballard. When he sets that screen, you're going to come around. You got to block him right there at that spot and congest the situation and not allow Ballard to get a clean look. Meet him high at the elbow, a little chug, and make it congested, and then he doesn't get freed up. That allows your teammate to get back to help.
Kentucky in the midst of a near 3-minute scoring drought. Williams, Moreno, back to Williams. Corner kick, Aberdeen. Extra pass, Moreno had to get it off quickly and beats the buzzer.
Good hands right there by the 7-footer. He went down low, and he was able to pull that one in.
Oh, Hubbard, nice, right back the other way in a flash.
He has elite end-to-end speed, pound for pound. Maybe the most athletic player in the SEC.
Leads all scorers tonight with 13. Aberdeen floater. Saved by Oweh. Here comes Hubbard. Epps, a 3. No. And a foul on Sergei Matsura. Well, a women's basketball takeover every Sunday right here on the SEC Network. We return to We Back Pat. It's triple header featuring a number of top 25 teams, including a top 10 showdown between Oklahoma and the Lady Wildcats of Kentucky.
That's definitely going to be a really good matchup. As Kentucky on the women's side without Tiani Key dropped one on the road at Alabama. Kenny Brooks has a squad, but that's going to be a tough one against a top 5 Oklahoma. Reagan Beard.
Have one of the longest active win streaks in the nation. Chandler hits a 3. That is the 4th 3 of the game for Kentucky, a team that has struggled from downtown this year, shooting 44% in the opening half from beyond the arc. Jabari McGee walled off by Williams. 5 to shoot. McGee lost it, and it's going back to Kentucky.
There's the defensive activity creating the turnover for Kentucky. And this is a point right here with 2:05 to go in the half that Kentucky has to see if they can put together a couple really good offensive sets to see if they can increase this lead with momentum going into the half.
Chandler again, same spot, missed. Moreno rebound in the putback.
Go to work, big fella. Malachi Moreno, the freshman, He's been outstanding. 10 points, 5 rebounds, doing all the dirty work.
Jelavic with the kickball.
You see this physicality, the push up under the boards and the extension, and then the quick bounce up off his feet with the soft touch, and there he says, hey, you're too little. It's 24 in white, it's going to work.
Weren't sure what to expect from him at the beginning of the year. He was called into action more quickly than they anticipated with the injury to Dioubate, who missed 5 games. And Moreno played so well over that stretch that Mark Pope was forced to continue to keep him in the lineup.
Well, he's got himself going by the way of 4 offensive rebounds. If I would tell any young player, if you want to be a contributor, go and get it off the glass.
Under 10 to shoot again here for Mississippi State. Achor hounded and was fouled, and it might have been Dioubate. Now they're going to get Jelavic instead.
Kentucky with 2 players converging over Dioubate. Jelavic trying to contest that shot. Achor, who's been in a little bit of a groove all game long, going back to the free throw line to shoot 2.
He's a young man who has played more confidently and more physically, according to Chris Jans, particularly since SEC play began. He's always been a guy, Richard, who's played with great energy. But Chris Jans has noted a little extra bounce in his step as of late.
Well, he's definitely shown it, and you see how he was able to get that offensive rebound put back. But 14 rebounds in his last outing against Oklahoma. He's been able to do so many things, and he's continuing to play with supreme level of confidence.
Just a shade over 60 seconds to go in the opening half. Chandler sent away by Achor. They will count the bucket on a goaltend.
Great action by Kentucky. Colin Chandler coming off those dribble handoff actions, able to get the quick inside layup off the glass. It's really good work there by Chandler. He's going to need a bucket like that to get his swagger going. He's been able to do some things from the defensive end with his energy and activity, but offensively, that's going to be huge for him and the Wildcats.
Originally committed to Mark Pope at BYU, went on a 2-year mission with the Church of Latter-day Saints, and by that time Pope was here, and he followed him to Kentucky, and it's back to the Cats.
I mentioned moments ago, big opportunity for Kentucky. They've been able to put together some baskets here, trying to build on this lead before the half.
Largest lead of the game right now for Kentucky at 5, and a foul on the entry pass.
Well, that's good work right there by Kentucky. They come off that horn set, and Aberdeen comes off the screen of Moreno, and he dives right in front of the rim. And that's where he demands the basketball, and a pinpointed pass draws the foul. And that's how you soften up the defense of Mississippi State. It's like jabs that you blow early in the early rounds to set them up for the knockout punch.
The body blows.
That's it.
One more foul puts Kentucky in the bonus. 37 seconds remaining in the opening half. Wildcats trail by as many as 12 at one point. Chandler. And the shot clock turned off for the SEC leading scorer, Josh Hubbard.
And I don't look for him to give this ball up. They got the court spread wide. They might get a little bit of false motion going on. Maybe they can get the mismatch he wants. But I think he might be able to take Chandler, looking to go one-on-one. There's the screen roll. They don't get the switch.
Hubbard, fadeaway jumper, left it short. And the Wildcats end the first half with a 5-point lead despite the injury to Jalen Lowe.
Well, Kentucky has really been able to make the response. Mississippi State got out of the gate and built a significant lead, but the Wildcats are rolling. Rupp Arena is roaring, and they look like they've got a little bit of momentum going into the half.
Wildcats shot 51% in the opening half. We send you to studio with Alyssa Lang in the game. I'm here in Lexington, Kentucky at Rupp Arena. A 5-point lead for the Wildcats after they trailed by as many as 12 early in the game. Hi again, everybody. Matt Schumacher alongside the former Alabama star Richard Hendricks. There was a stretch in this game where it felt like it really could have gotten away from Kentucky. They lost Jalen Lowe to an injury. We have not seen him return since then. But something got into this team about midway through that first half. They looked totally different.
Well, I think they picked up the pace and the tempo. They were able to outpace Mississippi State by shooting 7 more attempts than the Bulldogs. They got it going on the defensive end, being disruptive and getting out with some easy baskets. And the energy started to pick up, the building started to pick up, and the Wildcats went up.
Well, this is a game that was billed as must-win for Kentucky, and their defense in particular over the last 7 minutes seemed to play that way.
Well, they've been able to get their points off of the turnovers, 12 of them for Kentucky, as you see Oweh shooting the passing lanes, continuing to push all the way through with easy steals. Cam Williams getting in on the action, and the big dog, Malachi Moreno, stepping up huge with the activity on ball screens. It's been impactful for the Wildcats in the first half.
Mississippi State only averages just a shade over 11 turnovers a game. They were forced into 7 of them in the first half. Malachi Moreno had 10 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. Achor, a season-high 11 points. Both big men were fantastic. And as we talked about in the open, this is a game that featured 2 terrific backcourt stars. Josh Hubbard there on your screen, the leading scorer in the SEC, averaging 23 points per game. He left the first half with a game-high 13. And Oweh had 9 points on 4 of 8. One thing that stuck out to me in particular, the 3-point shooting of Kentucky. They hit 4 threes in the opening half on 11 attempts. That is above their season average.
Well, the ball got to moving, and they picked it up and got to swinging it around the court. You could see them run several actions off of the low post, splitting it, and then kicking out and finding some easy looks from the outside. When you get a piece of the paint and move the ball outside and catch your feet set to knock it down, the efficiency goes up tremendously.
Kentucky 0-2 in league play for the first time in 20 years. Trying to avoid going to 0-3 to start league play for the first time since the 70s. Picked second in the league behind Florida, the reigning national champs, who dominated number 21 Tennessee. That's back-to-back ranked wins for Florida. We saw their first against Georgia. Vanderbilt continues a program best 16-0 start, and Auburn, after 2 heartbreakers, finally gets their first SEC win.
Well, as you mentioned, Auburn was able to get off the schneid as they were able to finally finish one out. But don't sleep on the Commodores. Mark Byington's team is playing elite level basketball. Tyler Tanner in a magnificent performance against Alabama, and they come back again against LSU to keep their winning streak going. I do think that the SEC is wide open. A lot of teams trying to prove what they're about early on in the conference slate.
Felt like Mississippi State had all the momentum early, riding a 6-game winning streak after beginning their season 4-5. But Kentucky, over the last 7 minutes, not only closed the gap, but extended to their largest lead of the game at 5, which was where we begin the second half here at Rupp Arena.
A lot of time as we start a second half. Kentucky's had the momentum, but Chris Jans and his squad have been able to make adjustments this season, and we'll see what type of adjustments it will have here in the second half.
Wildcats with back-to-back losses to start SEC play against Alabama and Missouri. And that Missouri game is a game in which they led by 8 with 4.5 minutes to go. Right here in Lexington is a game they felt like they let slip away.
It was a total meltdown in the clutch. But, you know, sometimes there's some things that you can gain. If you have games and there's a close loss, you know you were competing. It's just some easy things that you need to clean up within your organization.
Right. Moreno's had a pair of steals in this game. The big man's been involved On both ends of the floor, his fingerprints have touched every aspect of this game. Cam Williams started hot. He was 4 for 4. Now Denzel Aberdeen with 10 to shoot. Pull-up jumper. Rims out. Rebound Jones.
Aberdeen tries to initiate the contact when he comes off those screen roll actions. I think he can really get ahead of steam and create something much easier.
Ballard, helter-skelter shots. Tap back good by Achor.
Nifty work by Ballard, coming off that spin move, catching in the short roll. And the activity of the front line with the offensive rebound putback.
Williams off the bounce, stripped by Achor. And here comes Jaden Epps. Just 1 for 5 in the opening half was the Georgetown transfer Epps. Hubbard knifes, lays it in, 15 to lead all scorers.
Great job by Josh Hubbard. He found the defender falling asleep, and he snuck right in from the backside in the dime. Was able to free him up with a nice scoop lay.
Quad 1 opportunity tonight for Mississippi State. They have just one quad 1 win so far. It was a neutral site game against Utah. Oweh, no on the 3. Dioubate without much resistance. A second opportunity, counted in the foul.
That's a big individual effort right there by Mo Dioubate. Now Kentucky's half-court offense looked a little bit stagnant, but you have that spirited effort by 23 White right there to get in and get an offensive rebound putback. Really good work by Dioubate.
The Alabama transfer, one of a number of Kentucky players to miss time this year with an injury, and we have received official word that Jalen Lowe is out for the remainder of the game. Appeared, Richard, early in the first half to re-aggravate that shoulder that held him out 7 games prior.
Those are tricky injuries. Anyone who's had shoulder injuries, you know that it just can take any slight movement. It can slip out of the joint, cause some aggravation. We hope that he'll be able to get back into the action the next round.
Jones, Achor, tap out, it's Williams. Inside Dioubate, stripped by Epps, last touched by Mississippi State. It'll stay here with 24 to shoot.
A lot of contact on both ends. Players are scrapping and fighting for every inch of position on the court.
Well, Mississippi State have sort of developed that identity of scrappiness after beginning the year 4 and 5. Started to play the way they had to play, according to Chris Jans. Part of that was scrappiness. Oweh rejected by Ballard, and Moreno right place, right time with the jam.
There he is, Malachi Moreno, with his 5th offensive rebound. That time Johnny on the spot, and that penetration by Oweh got the shot blocker to have to rotate over.
Inside Ballard, deep post feed, couldn't get the left hand bunny. Denzel Aberdeen on skates, traveled. That's the 7th turnover on the Cats.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen had that one without the pump fake, could have laid it up, but you can see as the rotation from Ballard comes over to get a piece of that rejection, nobody V's back on Malachi Moreno, and the freshman there picking up the loose change and slamming it home.
Almost picked by Dioubate. Achor saved it, 15 to shoot. Plenty of time here for Mississippi State.
Big possession right here for the Bulldogs.
Down 5, McGee. Oh yeah, nifty over the top of Dioubate.
Very crafty bucket right there by Jabari McGee, and a big bucket for Mississippi State.
Williams met at the rim, no call. Now a whistle, and it's a foul on the floor against Quincy Ballard.
Contact on the other end. Look at the footwork by Jabari McGee. Beautiful work right there, number 2 in black. It's starting to be a little bit more of a physical contest, and these teams are starting to sense the importance of each possession, and that's where your focus has to rise to another level. All the little things. Are you V-cutting and get it open? Are you setting solid screens? Are you communicating and rotating on the defensive end? All of that becomes magnified in these moments.
Neither team reached the bonus in the first half. You're right, it does feel more physical. Speaking of, a foul on Epps. And that will take us to the under-16 timeout. A 3-point lead for Kentucky at home against Mississippi State. Welcome back to Rupp Arena, home to so many legends of the game, including Rupp's Runts, the 1966 national runners-up, honored today at halftime at midcourt, led by Pat Riley, who picked up the mic and delivered a heartfelt message to Big Blue Nation. Everybody was on their feet. Richard Hendricks, really cool to see the legends of the game return home and still receive the type of ovation that we can only imagine they received back in the 60s.
Yeah, standing room applause for that group. And Pat Riley gave a very passionate speech honoring his teammates, talked about the leaders of that team and all the memories that they had here at the University of Kentucky with the success they had with Rupp's Runts.
They went 27-2 that year. One of those losses to Texas Western in the national championship game. Meanwhile, this Kentucky team may be still far away from a finished product, a national championship contender, but we've seen spurts tonight, Richard, that would give you hope, if you're a Big Blue fan, that they can compete in the SEC for a title this year.
Well, Mark Pope's offense, it takes a little bit of time to understand. And you are starting to see a little bit of this team start to understand how they can find their sweet spots in it. How do they get the timing, the pace, the screening, and understand where the quality shots need to come from each five people in the personnel on the court. Cam Williams was able to draw a foul right there because they were able to go to the low post, split off, and he got freed up because they caused some confusion with Mississippi State. So some positives that you can see with this Wildcat team as they start to grow all around.
So often this year they've been without their full complement of players. Certainly that's the case tonight against Mississippi State. No Jalen Lowe the rest of the game, injured in the first 3 minutes. And no Jaden Quaintance, their projected lottery pick center and a 7-footer. Sergej Matsura defended by his old teammate in Serbia, Andrea Jelavic.
Spirited drive right there by Jaden Epps. And now he has ability to heat up quickly, and he scores a lot of his buckets in isolation situations, but that type of energy is what Mississippi State's going to need from him. And there you see another offensive rebound by Malachi Moreno.
That is his 6th offensive rebound tonight. And rebounding was an area that Mark Pope felt like they could have an advantage.
That right there, when they get switched off, that's where Josh Hubbard has to do a much better job of face blocking out Moreno. He's a bigger player. You almost got to size him up like an offensive lineman and just route him out of the area. And you might not pull the rebound, but you got to make sure you keep Moreno off the glass.
7 foot 250.
He's a load.
He is a load. Leads the team in rebounding, leads the team in blocks. McDonald's All-American, Mr. Kentucky basketball, has continued to play a large role, even with Mo Dioubate returning to the lineup. 4-point lead for the Wildcats. Josh Hubbard, who had 13 in the opening half, has had just 2 over the opening 5 minutes of the second frame. Here he is with the basketball.
There are a lot of feet moving, shuffled on that last pivot.
Under 10 to shoot. McGee, tough fadeaway, won't go. Rebound trickles out. Epps a 3. Rims out. Oweh pushing the pace. Lost it. Mazzaro corrals.
Great job by Mississippi State getting back in defensive transition with the back tip.
Hubbard floats. Ballard walling off his smaller defender Williams.
That's where Cam Williams has to do a much better job in help side. When Mississippi State goes screen roll, you have to come over, get in the middle of the paint, and show some bodies to Ballard. That will discourage that easy beeline pass and make him kick. Then you play on the closeout.
Open three, Aberdeen knocks it in.
Big response right there by Denzel Aberdeen as Kentucky starting to play with a little bit more pace.
Their largest lead tonight is 5. 14 minutes to go in the game. They have dominated this series all time against Mississippi State. In fact, they've lost just once to the Bulldogs in the last 15 years. Josh Hubbard trying to change that tonight. He has 17.
Mississippi State is keeping it close. So they're going to have to get some stops on the defensive end. Kentucky's starting to find a little bit of an offensive rhythm.
Moreno right around Ballard, and the bunny won't go. Ballard kept it in bounds. Here comes Epps. Oweh with the steal and the hammer. Ballard right back the other way. A nice response for the Dogs.
Middle pick and roll has been successful all night long for Mississippi State. And for Kentucky defensively, you have to identify which side is the strong side and the weak side so you can understand where to help.
Williams, second opportunity. Aberdeen on the reload, knocks it down from distance. Aberdeen in double figures.
Denzel Aberdeen with his second 3-ball of the game. And Chris Jans wants to talk about it for Mississippi State. Well, it's the defensive work by the Kentucky Wildcats. As you can see, Oweh taking flight with the windmill jam. Beautiful work by Oweh, and then the kick out. After the second opportunity, Denzel Aberdeen with his second tray ball of the game. Kentucky filling it in Rupp. We got another big-time matchup here today as Kentucky's trying to get off the schneid on this 0-2 start in SEC play. And that fella right there, Malachi Moreno, has been getting it done for the Wildcats.
Grew up in a basketball-playing household. His brother Michael was a star at Eastern Michigan. First player there to score 1,500 points and grab 900 rebounds in his career. But Malachi Moreno is a young man who has been absolutely terrific this season. Somebody that was not expected to necessarily have the role that he has. But because of the injuries, Dioubate included, he was thrust into the lineup and played so well that they had to keep him in there.
Well, he's here to stay. I can tell you that right now. You come out here and you're pulling that many offensive rebounds. And when you can get some point production and we're not designing plays for you, that's a luxury to have. And you've started to see it. They settle in. They've been looking for him in that split post action in the high post and in the low post. And he's been making some really good decisions with the ball. He's been able to score with some jump hooks. He's dropped off some dimes, 4 of them in the game today. He's been extremely impactful.
And I beg your pardon, his brother played at Eastern Kentucky.
That's
not
right.
Michigan.
The Colonels.
Foul underneath. It will go against the Wildcats. Denzel Aberdeen's first. And just the second on the Cats. It will send Epps to the line. Really haven't gotten much from Epps today offensively. Just 2 for 7 from the floor.
He's a spectacular player with a lot of talent. But in a game where Kentucky has been playing at a high level as far as their intensity, Epps is going to have to take it up another notch They're going to need him down the stretch with his point production and his energy, as he can fill it up in bunches, but the time to get it going is right now.
Came to Mississippi State for the opportunity to be a major contributor on an NCAA tournament team. Made the big dance with Illinois as a freshman coming off the bench. 2 years as a top scorer at Georgetown on losing teams. 12 minutes to go from Rupp Arena, 4-point game until now. Chandler will go to the line.
That's a strong drive right there. And he used that spin move to free himself up on Hubbard on the baseline, and Hubbard felt like he got him with a little hit in the chops right there with that flailing off arm, but not called. But a strong athletic drive into the body to draw the foul, going to the free throw line.
He was, by many accounts, including Mark Pope's, their most consistent player through the first 9 games of the season. Now, a lot of that had to do with the fact that the lineup was changing every single night for Kentucky, but he scored in double figures in 8 of the first 9 games. His role has shifted a little bit as more players have gotten healthy, but tonight, with no Jalen Lowe, getting extra minutes, and he's up to 7.
Kentucky's going to need him to get back into that early season form. He's a big-time athlete. Had some highlight dunks this season, going down the middle over top of players. He's going to get the outside shot to match it.
Hubbard, contested 3. He was bumped, he thought. Looked right at Orlandis Poole after the shot and won't get the call he was seeking. It is a 6-point Kentucky lead. Matches their largest lead of the game.
Good in Croatian and Serbian, so a really good job to see some of those guys. Oh, what you got there?
Not only did my man Richard Hendricks play in the Adriatic League, he won a championship, ladies and gentlemen. Put some respect on his name.
Man, where did y'all get that? You had to go into archive for that one. But I tell you, a lot of fun going over and traveling in that part of the world, playing in Serbia and Croatia, Montenegro, Slovenia. I mean, a lot of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So many really good players in that region of the world. And that club that all of those guys played on is the same club that produced Jokic in the NBA. So, I mean, a lot of really good players and a lot of high-level basketball.
Had a chance to talk with Sergey at the shoot-around. Asked him what his favorite food was in the U.S. that he can't get back home in Slovenia, which is his native country. He said the
Cevapcici.
Smoked beef brisket.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
I thought he would have said Cevapcici.
There is a player down for Mississippi State after the jump shot by Oweh. And the officials have waved over to the Mississippi State training staff. And it is Jamarion Davis-Fleming, their freshman from Canton, Mississippi, who is celebrating a 19th birthday tonight. And it appears they are tending to his left ankle. Right there, just some friendly fire. Stepped on the foot of Chor while trying to defend Oweh.
Might have tweaked it a little bit before you ever got that first tweak, then the second. Goodness.
Hopefully it's nothing that will keep him out long term. Remember, they missed Sergey Matsura for a stretch in their SEC opener against Texas. He ultimately came back but tweaked his ankle in that game. We resume play. Kentucky's largest lead of the night at 8. They lead at 63-55 with 11:29 to go, and Mississippi State has to burn a timeout. Could not get the ball in And now they will have just one remaining.
That's a tough one right there. And you see Chris Jans speaking to Jabori McGee saying, why did you burn that timeout? You know, in that situation, you got to make a quick decision and get the ball in with a timely pass. And now here you are with 11:29 to go with only one timeout left at the control of Chris Jans. They're going to have to make sure they are in constant communication and how they're going to beat this pressure defense of Kentucky.
Well, we have a women's basketball triple header coming your way on Sunday. Of course, the Kentucky women's basketball team, with their highest ranking in 10 years, they will take on an Oklahoma team that has won 13 straight games.
It's going to be a good one. Clara Strack, Tony Morgan on the Kentucky side playing really good basketball, but Aaliyah Chavez, Reagan Beers, really good for Jenny Baranchit's squad with the Sooners.
Mississippi State's offense really has not had the same flow that they had over the opening 10 minutes of the game, which allowed a 12-point lead. But who needs flow when you got Josh Hubbard?
You don't need much. And it's just that little bit of a V-cut that he made to fake like he was coming off that handoff from Hubbard, or from Ballard rather. And then he's able to free himself up and knock it down.
Another 20-point performance for Hubbard. Jelavic, no. Garrison fighting for the rebound. Extra pass, Aberdeen. Spins and puts it down.
Great ability and balance right there by Denzel Aberdeen. Almost hit the deck, but able to regather himself and make a great finish.
Fowler threw it away. Just some miscommunication with a chore. Garrison the other way. Timeout, Chris Jans, his last, with 10:24 to go in the game. And you have a shocked look on your face that Chris Jans would use his final timeout with so much time to go, but it's plays like this that have led to Kentucky's largest lead.
A little puzzling, but obviously this is a philosophy of some coaches that you want to do all you can to help your team. Now, you'll have a couple of media timeouts, and you know the reviews will always come sometime down the stretch, but at the same time, if you call it, you got to make sure that you regroup your team. See if you can beat the pressure. See if you can beat the pressure from Kentucky and get down and get a quality shot. But nonetheless, this is what it is with 10:24 to go for Mississippi State.
Wildcats have looked like a totally different team than the one that began the game on their heels, which has been one of the Achilles heels of this team this year, the slow starts. Now, they overcame halftime deficits to both Indiana and St. John's this year. Didn't have to wait till halftime. They regrouped, trailing by 12, went on a 9-0 run in the first half, and really, Richard, they've controlled the game ever since.
Yes, they've definitely been able to do so, and they've been able to get some momentum going. You can feel the sense of urgency that they have. This is a Kentucky team that is continuing to grow. They're getting better and better in every single moment of this game. But the question's going to be, with 10:24 to go, what do? You find yourself up 9. Do you keep your foot on the gas and win this one going away, or is there a surge by Mississippi State?
Keeping their foot on the gas is something they were unable to do in this building just a couple of nights ago. Lost an 8-point lead to Missouri with 4.5 minutes to play. Tigers went on a 15-2 run, handing Kentucky their second loss to start SEC play. Out of the Chris Jans timeout, Mississippi State trailing 67-58. McGee with 5, lost the handle, regathered short.
Outstanding defensive work by Kentucky on the last possession. See the active hands, heavy in the gaps. We can see if they can get a little half-court offensive execution. Ball moving from side to side with solid quality screens.
Garrison a three. Jelavic tried to elevate for the rebound. Here comes Epps. McGee down behind the play. Now drifting into the front court. Epps somehow slipped it past Chandler.
He's a savvy player. But this is the point where Mississippi State's got to pick up the defensive intensity. They're going to make a spark. This is the moment you got to do so.
Jelavic, good feed. Garrison counting in the foul.
Really good, unselfish play. Jelavic not shooting the three ball, putting it on the deck. And you can see that pump fake after the ball reversal. Puts it on the deck after missing the last couple of three balls. Drops it off to Garrison. The big man finishes with strength.
It's the ball movement that you've been calling for, that Big Blue Nation has been calling for. When they've moved the ball, go figure, they've been a really effective offensive team.
There's energy in the basketball. When you share it, you know, it's contagious. But Kentucky's got to continue to try to find a little bit more flow within their offensive system. They are very efficient when they can push it up and get a quality shot, move it from side to side, and get some movement after you pass it. But the stagnant possessions have been killer for the Wildcats.
Rebound Brandon Walker, his first minutes of the night. Epps drives, fouled by Chandler. That's number 2 on the sophomore from Farmington, Utah.
You can see Epps able to get turning the corner. Just that little bit of contact that he was able to draw on Colin Chandler gets him to go back to the line. Let's see if Mississippi State, with 8 minutes and 44 seconds to go, with a couple of free throws, decides to get into a little bit of full court pressure to speed up Kentucky.
Moreno comes in for Garrison. Epps will get another shot at the line. Mississippi State 9 for 10 from the line tonight. Cats have gotten 4 more shots, same amount of makes. Back to Oweh. 2-man game with Moreno, less than 10 to shoot. Zips it to Williams. Extra pass, Chandler. Off the mark. A chore flying in for the rebound. Picked by Oweh. Watch out!
Oweh in the passing lane once again, comes up with a beautiful steal, takes it in for the slam.
Like a defensive back lurking in the secondary. Hubbard a 3, rims out. Everything but the bottom of the cup. Picked off by Jasper Johnson. Here's Oweh. Chandler thought about a stop and pop, instead swings it back out to 0-0. He tries a 3 and hits from downtown. Largest lead of the game for the Cats.
The Wildcats are in a rhythm. Oweh starting to take things into his own hands.
Defending Brandon Walker, the Montana State transfer, through contact. And will try to stop a little run here by Kentucky after the timeout.
Oweh with his 4th steal of the game, able to get a beat on that one, and he takes it in for a tomahawk jam. He's made his last 4 shots, and the beautiful pull-up jumper from range. Oweh has Kentucky up big.
Back in Lexington, where Kentucky's Oweh leads all Cats with 18 points. He is the subject of our All-State Good Hands plays presented by Allstate. 4 steals, ties a season high.
Well, he has outstanding anticipation, and he was able to see exactly where the big man of Chor had to go as he was trying to push it in the break. And the elite level athleticism and wingspan gets out in the passing lanes right there. But his steals have been able to turn into easy offense on the other end to get himself going, get some energy in the building. And the rest of the Wildcats have been picking up where Oweh has started.
21 points off turnovers for Kentucky tonight in front of a packed, rough arena. A fan base craving this type of performance in league play. Coming off back-to-back losses to Alabama and Missouri, snapping a 4-game win streak, which included wins over Indiana and St. John's. But a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde this year for Kentucky, but boy, if they can bottle up stretches of this game and apply it to 40 minutes going forward in the SEC, I'm not sure there's a team they can't compete with.
I do think that this is a wide open season in conference play. And you know, obviously, the sense outside of Rupp Arena and within the fan base is that you're trying to figure this thing out with this team. There's a sense of urgency. You don't know what they're going to do. But I think that the team has a quiet confidence that they're about to turn the corner, that they feel like they're improving. But they also know that the time is now.
5 to shoot, it's Oweh with 18. Flips it out, Williams relocates for 3.
It's a stagnant possession, but Cam Williams, he calms it down with that beautiful pump fake. Cool, calm, and collected in the presence of mind to knock it down at the end.
Has a 3 in 6 straight games, 2 tonight. Walker, what a move. Twisting around the 7-footer.
Yes, it was. And a load when he started doing those spin moves and pirouettes. Beautiful footwork and finesse.
Floater to Moreno.
Great job by Kentucky and Malachi Moreno. Now a lob threat over the top. Job by Moreno right there. If you're Walker, that's where you want to come off of that screen that's set for you and just set up shop right up under the goal. Don't try to meet the pass outside. Duck in and a beautiful drive right there. Shifty by Oweh.
20 points tonight for the SEC preseason player of the year. Epps cannot respond. Johnson, coast to coast with the left hand.
Beautiful decision, Jasper Johnson. He had a full head of steam, and notice he had the mismatch with a big backpedaling, and he puts it on the gas and finishes.
It is unraveling here for Mississippi State, which burned its final timeout with 10:24 left in the game.
Look at this footwork by Oweh. So smooth. He's able to move from side to side in the mismatch and transition. Jasper Johnson crossing over and going all the way to the cup.
Oweh had it jarred loose, scoops it back to Jasper Johnson, and he'll pull it back out. 3 consecutive 20-point performances for Oweh. Less than 5 minutes to go, an 83-65 lead.
Execution. Kentucky is in a groove. Oweh, the recipient. Kentucky's starting to find a little bit of their rhythm offensively. And you can see they get in this situation. There's a screen right here, but Oweh, he's going to make that cut, free himself up. It's the fake that he makes to go baseline. That's how you get open. You V-cut like you're coming up to receive it, and then backdoor cut. Beautiful job by Kentucky.
Three-point shot has not been there tonight for Mississippi State. Now 3 for 15. Hubbard from the logo. And he has not had the same stroke he had in the opening half. All Wildcats 8-0 run. And defensively have held Mississippi State to 2 minutes and change without a point. Back from Rupp Arena, men's basketball doubleheader coming your way Wednesday night right here on the SEC Network. Kentucky at LSU. And then South Carolina against an Arkansas team that will be looking to get back on the right side of things after losing to Auburn.
Kentucky starting to hit a rhythm. And it's because of the fundamental plays that they had on possessions like these right here. Denzel Aberdeen fighting with a Chor at 6'9", 230 pounds. Look at that. Down low with leverage, using his hips, driving away, not giving up on the play. Ball going back to Kentucky. It's those type of plays that you have to have on every single possession. It's the spirited plays, the small details, the little box outs, shaping up the screens, cutting with the purpose. And Kentucky starting to find their rhythm by doing so. And it's showing in the point column.
It was those types of plays that got Denzel Aberdeen on the floor early in his career at Florida. Kept him on the floor last year in the midst of the Gators' run to the program's third national championship. Had nothing but great things to say about the Florida program. He just wanted an opportunity, Richard, to have a bigger role.
Well, he was a local kid in Florida, and he stayed at Florida through the transition, and obviously was rewarded with being a big factor and piece of that national championship team. But with the opportunity to transfer to Kentucky, wanted to try a little something new, and he's starting to catch his groove with the Wildcats.
Played 3 years for the Gators, now in his senior season. And barring anything crazy, a monster effort tonight in helping Kentucky pick up its first SEC win. So a lot of time left in this game. Step back, Oweh short. Williams no, and Epps running away with it. He lost it. Back out Hubbard. Jelavic with the steal. 14 turnovers tonight for Mississippi State, 3 above their season average.
Let's keep our eye off ball action of Kentucky. If the spacing's good and movement, this will create an easy basket. If you get some movement on the weak side, this is what's going to result in Kentucky getting the basket. Aberdeen,
nifty behind the back pass to Moreno.
That's good two-man work right there. And Denzel Aberdeen understands where Moreno is, who has the hot hand with the soft touch. Dropped that one off behind the back. Beautiful work on the two-man game.
Moreno 15 points on 7 of 9 shooting. Epps stayed with it, and the reverse goes.
Mississippi State elected to just sit back on the defensive end and allow Kentucky to take some time in the offense.
Jelavic left open. That's a 3. The 9th of the game for the Wildcats, who have shot above 40% from downtown.
Jelavic had missed his first 2, and he got a wide open look that time. made sure to make it count.
And now Chris Jans emptying the bench. They have conceded to a Kentucky team that finally put it together for longer stretches tonight, maybe than we've seen before, at least against a power opponent.
This might be what Kentucky needs to get going. Mississippi State been playing really good basketball, but Kentucky to get it done without Quaintance and Lowe. That's got to be huge for the confidence and momentum of the Wildcats.
Fans abrupt cheering for Trent Noah coming onto the floor. Walker blocked by Moreno, but a foul.
A lot of contact on that last drive. Walker, he gets a full head of steam. You got to make a decision. Moreno tried to stand strong there, but nonetheless, pretty good maneuver for Walker to get to the free throw line.
Checking in for Kentucky is Garrison.
Well, looking ahead for the Wildcats, of course, they've got that date with LSU. As Moreno checks out after a monster game, multiple steals, crashed the offensive glass, and finished with 15 points. But a big date looming at Tennessee. Then they'll welcome Texas. These are 3 opportunities for Kentucky to handle an opponent that they will likely be expected to beat, LSU. And then 2 good challenges. A ranked opponent in Tennessee. They have just 1 ranked win so far this year. That was against St. John's. And then a Texas team who has tested Alabama tonight on the road.
Really good opportunities to improve their NCAA tournament resume. But a lot of ball and a lot of time to get better all around the league.
Aberdeen good. 16 for the Florida transfer to go along with 4 assists. Meanwhile, Mississippi State's 6-game win streak will be snapped tonight. Their first loss in over a month since they dropped a quad 3 to San Francisco. Walker's 3 is off the mark. But it's no rest for the weary. They'll have Alabama, Ole Miss, and then at Texas A&M. And now some of the walk-ons coming in for Kentucky.
Applause for players departed the game that done an outstanding job. The response that this faithful wanted to see. They get a big win, first win in conference play this season.
I think the question that many will leave with tonight is, can they maintain the momentum? And can they do it for all 40 minutes? Remember, they trailed by as many as 12 tonight to Mississippi State.
They didn't start it off right, but they were able to pick things up and really get it going. And that's going to be exactly what they have to start doing moving forward against the rest of the competition in the SEC.
All Wildcats in the second half. And the Rupp faithful come to their feet. Watching Kentucky pick up its first SEC win of 2026.
Kentucky played a really good game. And Oweh, Moreno on the offensive rebound and doing great work alongside with Aberdeen with some big plays. A complete game after the reset early on by Kentucky. And it's exactly what the Wildcats need moving forward.
So much noise around the Kentucky program, particularly coming into this game, billed as a must-win. They looked every bit the part of the team many expected them to be, despite injuries to Lowe and Quaintance. Meanwhile, Mississippi State will look to get back into their winning ways next time out. We send you to Alyssa Lang and the gang in the studio. Guys, take it away.
What was important tonight to execute to come away with this first conference win?
You know, we were just focusing on finishing the game. You know, the last game we kind of let it slip. So we was really just locked in on, you know, every possession, trying to be great and be sharp on offense and defense.
Ortega, how much has the leadership of you guys been the detail that you've paid attention over this little stretch right here, knowing that it can get greater?
Yeah, no matter how tough it is, you know, we all just got to show up. You know, from me to the youngest guy on the team, you know, we all just got to step up, be vocal. Especially, you know, in the situation we're in now, we can't fold. Leadership is important, so, you know, I'm definitely just trying to step into that role.
I like what you just said, Ortega. You said you can't fold. When you put on a big blue jersey, Kentucky Wildcat jersey, it means something a lot different than a lot of other schools. What have you done to explain exactly what that means and how to cope with some of the pressures that can come along with that with some of the new players on your team?
Yeah, you know, putting on this jersey, it's a privilege. You know, what comes with it is, you know, great tradition. You know, a lot of greats wore this jersey before, so, you know, we got to, you know, uphold it. And, you know, we're just trying to do that every single day. You know, it starts in practice and, you know, the type of intensity we have to bring when, you know, we step up to the court because it is Kentucky. And, you know, everyone loves to come interrupt and, you know, win here. So, you know, we definitely got to, you know, stand ground. And, you know, it's just a blessing to wear this jersey. We just got to keep on winning games.
I'll take a last one for you. It looked like Denzel was helping you fix your hair a couple times there at the beginning of the interview. Like, take us through the brotherhood of this team. You had some bunny ears behind you throughout the course of this interview as well. What's the relationship like with you and these guys?
Nah, we're super close. You know, we love each other. You know, we just every day we go to war with each other. And, you know, it's just a blessing to play with these guys. You know, anytime we get to step up to the court, you know, we just got to show that, you know, we love each other and, you know, we play as a team and we play for each other.
Congratulations, Ortega. Can't wait to see what y'all have in store for us for the rest of conference play.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Huge win at